thinking Perry.
Jeff? Should Bill be sitting up with us since he's on the commission?
Yes, where is he? Bill.
Table.
That's it. Although I feel like a little kid.
So I,
Okay, by this, I'll call the.
Grass, but I mean, a lot of those people aren't driving anymore. I mean,
Right.
and I'm no longer here.
All right,
Up with it, no parking space.
Madam Clerk, are you ready?
I am.
Today is January 18th, 2024. I would like to call to order the Woburn Traffic Commission. Please silence your cell phones, and I remind everyone, this meeting is being recorded for broadcast. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Cassidy.
Here.
Commissioner Corey.
Here?
Commissioner DeAmbro.
Present.
Commissioner Duran.
Yep.
Commissioner Jolly.
Here.
Commissioner Smith.
Yep.
Commissioner Zuccarellis. Absent. Commissioner Stokes.
Here.
Commissioner Dillon.
Present.
And Commissioner Papalato.
Present.
May I ask for a motion for personal privilege for a couple minutes?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Before I step down, I just want to thank everyone here. It's been 4 years that I've been the chair here, and I've learned a lot from everyone who's on this commission. I thank my city members. The fire department's always been here with great leadership and always good advice. Jay and Tina, I apologize now for all the many phone calls I've given you on the matters here, but not only have you given me great guidance, you've become very good friends, and I appreciate the work you do in this commission. And Sergeant Stokes, again, great work, great guidance. Many of the times we look at you and you always have an answer, you're always willing to work. You and your department just are the best. Can't say enough about you. And Officer Gately, who's often here, I would like to thank him. He's a good friend. He's helped me many times. He helped me through one of the most personal and tragic times of my life. He's a good friend, and I'll always be grateful for him for that. The members from the City Council, this is important work we do here. I can't think of anything more important than the safety of our citizens. And we've got some good work done, particularly in the last couple of years. And I know with good support that we have coming our way, this is going to be a commission that's going to get a lot done. So I just want to say thank you to everyone. It's been great working with you, so. So can we get a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meetings?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That passes. Thank you.
As the ranking member on behalf of the other members of the Traffic Commission, I'd like to thank Jeff Dillon for the service that he's provided and his leadership for the last 4 years. Outstanding. Once more, thank you. Now for a nomination for a new chair. We will accept nominations. Do I have any? Sir?
I would like to make a motion that Bill Popolato take the position of chair for the Traffic Committee.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Do we have any other nominations? Hearing none, I would ask the secretary for a vote of the members.
Commissioner Cassidy.
Yes.
Commissioner DeAmbro.
Yes.
Commissioner Duran.
Yes.
Commissioner Jolly.
Yes.
Commissioner Smith.
Yes.
Commissioner Zuccarellis is absent. Commissioner Stokes.
Yes.
And Commissioner Papalato.
Yes.
You're willing to accept, I hope.
Yes.
With that, I would transfer the gavel now to the new chair, Bill Parpolato.
Issue with that the other night.
So first, I'd just like to introduce myself for the board members, some of which I've seen a little bit, and others that are on TV. I've been around the License Commission for the last 5 years. I'm familiar with some of the parliamentary processes of what we do here and how we do it, but I'm no expert in this stuff, so I'll need your patience and I'll need your guidance, and please help me out if you see me going off course, and I'll be glad to self-correct and get it right. So my style is more direct. There's not going to be a lot of hyperbole or long-windedness on my part. I've listened to you guys. I've watched you guys. You know the business here, so I will be relying on you to guide the process. So thank you for that. Okay, so there's a couple of agenda items this week, or this month, I should say. There's some old business out there. It's a request for no parking sign on Perry Place in the intersection with Elm Street. So at the last meeting, there was a move to have Jay Duran go and check the area and come back with a recommendation, so.
So I have checked, we're talking Perry first?
Yes.
So there really isn't, it's not really clear exactly where the sign is. I suspect that the sign, if you're driving in from Elm Street, is the request to put a sign on the left side.
If you're driving
Go on.
onto Perry,
No, you're driving from Elm onto Perry on the left side.
where that white car is
No,
there,
and not exactly.
from there and up,
Is that the request?
along that grass area was my understanding, the whole grass area.
I believe they were looking at a sign where the fence ends, the brown fence, because their driveway is very narrow, and it's behind the house,
Can you go up Perry?
and when they're pulling out, I went up Perry, and I think Lou did
Yes.
as well. And when they're pulling out of the driveway, any cars that are parked in that area, they really have a hard time getting out. They'd have to back and forth several times.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you. So my concern on this is based on what you see in front of you. That looks like private property to me.
You mean the roadway or the
It
place?
doesn't look like a roadway.
Perry
It
Place?
looks like, based on the white lines, represent property lines.
Right.
And the property lines looks like that's private property. So I don't think that we can put a sign there.
Matt, is that an easement over the property? Yes. So there is no actual right-of-way there?
I'm not sure we have the authority to post signage on.
Exactly.
Well, technically, it's private property, and we have no jurisdiction there.
It looks like an easement to the back lot.
Yep.
So Perry Place, the roadway itself is private property?
That's
Yes.
what that map shows.
Wow.
Well, maybe
we-
we can
we-
investigate further, but this, I don't think this commission can say we're gonna put a sign on private property.
Matt, can you turn the aerial on? We may have, no, there's not, the limits of the back of sidewalk are right at the right-of-way limit.
Through the chair. Jay, if that's a private property, can the person on
They own it, though.
52 Elm Street, would that be something, a sign that they could erect, or the petitioner could erect?
It appears it's their property, right?
At
That's
50,
the way it appears.
because the address is 52 Elm Street, so I'm wondering if the petitioner themselves has the right to post a no parking sign,
Well, if,
and it's their
again, they'd
land.
have to look at their deed and see what rights they have in the right-of-way there. If they did erect such a sign, I don't know how it's enforceable, and, I defer to the city solicitor as to whether or not the police department could even enforce a private sign.
My answer would be we could not enforce it on private property.
But the
So
homeowner
is the
protect,
purpose of this sign to alert people to be careful entering Elm Street?
no. It was to enable the people that live at 52 to be able to get out of their driveway, take a left, and go down toward Elm. They find it impossible to take a left. Someone's parking along that fence
Yeah.
or the grass area, but particularly the fence. It makes it almost impossible for them to be able to drive out and take a left.
Matt, could you possibly put the cursor on where 52 is? That one right there? Okay, that's what I thought.
And I guess the question I would have is if it is private, and if they did have the right to post signage, I recognize that our police department might not be able to enforce it, but couldn't they call a private tow company to enforce it? Just like somebody who owns a private parking lot can say, you can only park here if you're doing business here, and if not, you can be towed.
So could they potentially put those types of signs?
That's what I'm wondering.
I'm assuming that they'll have rights to pass and repass along that private way. And it's more a matter of whoever's parking there is creating the angst.
It's a civil matter, like,
Yeah.
this board can't decide this.
It appeared to.
Based
the
on
way-
that info.
The way she was talking, a lot of it was people working in the construction site across the street were parking there. I mean, maybe even if they put their own sign up on private property would act as a deterrent at least
Yeah.
to keep them from parking there. I think that's what she was saying was a bigger problem.
I mean, what they should probably do is erect a sign that says private property, no parking.
Through the chair to Jay, Corey. Should we have a sign on Elm Street when you're entering Elm that says not a throughway, private property? Is that something that's, like, oh, there is a sign.
Got one.
There you go.
Got 'em.
It's got at least part of the message, yeah.
One step ahead.
Thank God.
Good job.
First for everything.
So I guess the question is there anything for the city to research, or do we communicate with the petitioner to say, we don't believe it's a public way, therefore we wouldn't have the authority to erect signage and enforce it, but you as the owner of the way may have that right? You need to talk to your attorney and do some research?
Well, it appears as though the white car is actually parking on private property. Because the width of the easement is the width of the pavement.
Plus, I think according to the aerial.
Yeah, it sounds like they need some better communication between the abutters up there. Through the chair, I just don't see where we have any authority here. So I'm in agreement with Commissioner Duran.
So what is the will of the board here? Are we asking to, you know, bring other opinions into this, or are we stating that this is out of our jurisdiction, and how do we proceed here?
Based on the information provided that we have at our disposal, it's private property, so unless,
Can we send a communication? Could I make a motion to send a communication to the petitioner that says, due to the circumstances, it's a private, you know, easement. There's nothing that the traffic commission of the city of Woburn is able to do. It's more of a civil matter. I think at least we should send out a communication to the petitioner.
Agreed.
We have something in writing. This way, they understand what happened.
All right,
And
I
what
mean,
the
that
reasons
sounds
were.
reasonable. Is that?
So I will make a motion to send a communication to the petitioner explaining that there's nothing the city of Woburn can do due to the fact it's private property and due to the easement of the private property that they technically own,
Would you
Okay.
want to add and table the motion, table the matter?
as well as, part two of that would be to table the matter.
If that's in the form of a motion, I would second
sir.
it.
Was there a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, well, the matter is closed. We're going to go ahead and make that communication and keep it on the table. Okay, so that finishes up our old business. There's one item of new business that's to be discussed. It's a request for handicap parking space across from 70 Warren Ave. I'll step away. Yes.
So I don't see a petitioner here, but presuming there isn't anybody to explain this further, it seems like there's a handicap resident of number 70, the Woburn Housing Authority property, who has a doctor's note saying that she needs a handicap spot. And the proposal is to create or designate one of the on-street spaces as the handicap spot for that person. I guess my question is, why isn't this person provided a handicap spot on her own property? She's handicapped. Would she be the person that really ought to be told to go across the street and get in the car? I'm not sure about the precedent either of doing this, but
I think this was precipitated recently because of a lack of handicap parking, i.e. none, on the Housing Authority's parcel. And now they're looking to fix something, if you will. Is it the Housing Authority who's submitted this application?
I believe it's from the woman, the tenant.
Ah,
She's a renter at 70 Warren, and so it's coming from the tenant, not the Housing Authority. I mean,
generally, we remand these to the Handicap Commission after we've done a cursory review. It seems odd that we would have a handicapped individual cross the street to get to her vehicle.
especially given the topography of Warren Avenue.
Agreed.
Through the chair to Engineer Corey, would we be able to request the Housing Authority to take her allocated parking spot? Because I noticed that they're all numbered over there on Warren Ave, at 70 Warren Ave, and have her spot painted with a handicap
I think
Stripe?
that's a reasonable solution in my mind.
through the housing or
Through the
possibly
chair.
DBW?
Through the chair, and just on that matter, just so we don't continue on with that. So there's only 14 spots there. I've done a little research on this, and it's a wait list. And this particular petitioner is on the wait list for one of those spots on site. So their only alternative is on-street parking. So, I mean, it's elderly housing. My assumption would be there is more than one handicapped person or handicap-eligible placard person on that property. So with the limited spaces available, I'm not sure if having assigned private spots supersedes the need for any laws on the handicap spots. I'm not versed on that. It's something we can look into. But I think this overall is something we need to to have someone communicate with the housing authority on to try and figure something out. If they do put a spot on, one of the 14, it's actually going to take up at least 2 spots because they have to make room for the
Doors.
for the vans and whatnot. So there's a lot of issues there with that. Having said that, I'm not in favor of a spot on Warren for a couple of different reasons, but the biggest reason being the incline. I think it's you know, an accident waiting to happen on a snowy, icy condition like we have now. If someone gets out, there could be some issues there. 70 is the even side. During the winter, you can't park overnight on the even side, so it would have to be, to make it usable all year, it'd have to be on the odd side, then you gotta cross a pretty busy street. So there's some concerns there. And also, the last part of it is, if you have a handicap spot designated, it's not for one particular person. Anybody can use it that has the handicap placard or handicap plate, so it doesn't have to be someone from the apartments at Warren Ave, the housing. It could be anybody in that neighborhood that has a placard could grab that spot, so I see all kinds of problems coming from putting a spot there.
Totally agree, and I agree with Commissioner Duran. I don't think that the slope of Warren in that area meets ADA requirements. Matt, can you zoom in on the front space? It looks like we have a space available at the entry that would be sufficient for a handicap van. But again, I think that, I agree with everybody that the Housing Authority should be making this proposal.
Guess I'd kind of like to know what, if they have a plan, short or a medium term.
Or is that parking in the back? Do they have parking in the rear?
I think that's emergency access.
Okay.
I don't believe there's any visitor parking. There's 14 spots assigned to the residents. I don't know how many actual residents are there, but I know it's more than 14. I know there's a wait list.
Can you show a street view, Matt? And just kind of look up that entryway? Okay, so that's some form of emergency access to the other buildings.
Is there ability to have a handicap spot put in the back of the facility?
Possibly.
You know, hugging the building up in the corner or something to somewhere so the emergency vehicles can get in and out of there, tower one, whatever needs to get in there.
I would make a motion that we request the Housing Authority to attend the next Traffic Commission meeting and make a proposal as to how they intend to solve this problem.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nope, okay. So we'll get something drafted and get that out to the Housing Authority, ask them to come into the next meeting. Are there any other matters that come before this board that need to be discussed? Diane?
Nope.
Nope. Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Adjourned.
How about
Was
the
that
food
me?
chair?